The number of women taking up golf is one of the fastest growing segments in the golf market. The problem is there are a lot of women that leave golf. They don't all stay. And one of the problems is when you interview everybody is you find out basically that, oh, it's too hard a game, or, you know, it takes too much time. We all run into that. But basically too hard a game is the main reason. And a lot of that stems from the fact that women don't have the right equipment. Let me just throw this out in the beginning. If you're a woman golfer and you got equipment from your husband, your grandfather, your father-in-law, your boyfriend, or your brother, or wherever it came from, if it came from a man and he told you, look, you take up the game, and if you play and you really like the game after a year, then I'll get you your own equipment. Well, if you're playing those clubs, you have a huge problem, because men's golf clubs are not even close to what a woman needs to hit the ball. So back in the early 90s, to mid-90s, they did some big studies on women to figure out what really helped them and to provide better golf clubs for women golfers. And here's what came out of that. Number one, women don't take divots. Women basically swing with a sweeping swing through the ball instead of hitting down and through it sharply. Some women hit a little bit down and through it, but the point is most women don't take divots. You think about the average woman's about a 31, 32, 33 handicap. The average male handicap's about 18. And women have a totally different type of game than men do. So when women look at golf equipment, and let's start off with irons, what do they need to do? If they're not going to hit down and through and take big divots and be sweepers of the ball, then they need specialized equipment. And it has to be totally different. You can't use the men's head and just put a different shaft in it and cut it down shorter and put a small grip on it and sell it to a woman. You need a special designed head. And here's what happens. Basically, women need golf club designs, and in irons we'll start off, as I said, that are the highest multi-playability factor. You need to start in ultra game improvement. Why? Because if you sweep the ball, you need the lowest center of gravity you can get in an iron so that it's always below that of the ball. You need center of gravities that are farther out from the hosel in the iron head so the club head's more stable. You need wider sole designs like this one versus the other one I'm holding, and you need more bounce on those wider sole designs, meaning that the trailing edge of the iron is lower than the leading edge of the iron, so it hits first coming into impact. So a woman golfer with a sweeping swing can come into impact and hit the ball or hit a quarter, a half, 3/4, or 1 inch behind the ball, and the iron will go right into the ball. The low CG will help it get into the air much easier than anything else, and the bounce on the sole will keep it from digging. So you lose this fear of hitting this fat shot, if you will, when all you have to worry about is hitting it too thin. Just hit right down behind the ball and don't worry about the club head trying to dig its way to China. It won't happen if it's properly designed. So high playability irons, you don't want skinny soles, and you certainly don't want short blade lengths like the club I'm holding in my right hand. There's a lady's blade length. Now look at the length of that. And recognize that it's kind of been a fallacy. Women's golf club heads are heavier than men's simply because they're shorter, which brings up the fact of ladies' club length. Women basically need to be under, maximum of rather, 37¼ inches on a 5-iron length. I prefer to see it 37 or 36¾ A men's length is 37½ to 38 inches on a 5-iron. So big difference in length on ladies' 5-irons to men's. The other thing is men's 5-irons are generally 25, 26, or 27 degrees of loft. Ladies' 5-irons need to be 29 and 30 degrees of loft. So they're shorter, they've got more loft, and they're heavier because they are shorter. And they're in ultra-high game improvement, and that makes a woman play better. Two other factors to quickly talk about, and one is be sure to get fit for the proper grip size. And here's some cut-off shafts with 2 ladies' grips on it. And I have an oversized ladies and a standard ladies. Most women are going to fit into the real lady standard size. Manufacturers all have their own lady standard size, and as far as I'm concerned, they're all too big. Some of them are a 64th to a 32nd oversized ladies. So be sure to go in and check your fit for proper grip size. Makes a huge difference in playability. The other factor in ladies' clubs is the shaft. One of the biggest selling things I ever did was design a double L-flex, or a soft ladies flex shaft. And I did that because in testing I found out that women hit the soft L-flex, almost all of them, unless you're an LPGA future star, that's a whole different ballgame. But women hit these much better. Why? The shaft does a lot of bending coming into impact. It increases the loftier clubs, it closes the face, it flattens the lie, it does a lot of things. Well, women need to get the shaft to actually bend so they can utilize it like the stronger men do, or the faster swinging men. So you want a softer flex shaft. And on this shaft right here, it also has most of its bending down in the tip area versus up in here where you don't want it to bend. You want it down in here. And the fact that it's a higher torque and it may hit the ball a little more right or left is totally irrelevant, because this shaft into a high game improvement head with the wider sole and the bounce and everything is going to give you more solid hits more of the time. You can hit it all over the face right to left and still have solid shots. So all of these features are very important to women's golf. Now talk about the driver for 2 minutes. The driver really shouldn't be over 43 inches long unless you can handle it. If you can, go for it. But 43 is generally the maximum. Women are basically, you want to get into these big new drivers. You don't want that old driver. You want as much game improvement as we're building into all the men's clubs. So you want a 435 to 465 cc driver so that you can get the benefit of all the action that that big head can do on directional control and ease of hit. So you're also going to want to be 43 inches, and you're going to also probably be at least 12.5 degrees of loft. Very important. Don't you buy anything unless you go into a store, a pro shop, wherever you're going, and you hit it. And you've got to go and check your driver out in a launch monitor. So if they got a launch monitor, you need it. Get in that launch monitor, and it'll tell you if you need 13 or 14 degrees loft, or maybe you need a 12.5 or a 12. And ladies, clubs are available in multiple lofts. My guess is you're going to need a minimum of 12.5 degrees of loft. So go out and hit the clubs, as I said, knowing that club head designs have come a long way, but it's the total club that I'm worried about putting into your hands. You want the right shaft flex, you want the right grip size, and you want that head to perform for you. And ladies' clubs, again, are a very important segment of this market, but a lot of manufacturers don't take it super seriously, but a lot of them also do.